printing outputs in C language. So we use the printf statement to print or to send formatted output to the screen. So this is in C language. And I'll be giving you several examples as we go on this lecture. So how do we print string constants? So we have here an example. We just use printf, and then we have the string constant inside the parentheses. So a string constant is actually enclosed in double quotes, just like what is shown here. So you notice that hello world is enclosed in double quotes, enclosed in double quotes. So the output of this will be hello world. So it will just display the text on your screen. Integer output. So here in this program, we declared a variable and assigned the 10 to this variable. And then we have here two lines of code wherein we have here number equals %d \n. So %d will be substituted with the value of this variable. So the value of this variable is actually 10. And similarly, we have here number %5d. So for 5d, so you could actually read this one. The difference between these two lines of code is that for this part of code, it will be assigning 5 spaces. That's why if you notice here, we have here number equals to %d will be substituted by I number, so the output is number equals 10. While here on the second line, number equals %5d I number. So again, number will be substituted to %d, but it will allocate 5 spaces. So there are actually 3 leading spaces here before the 10 is displayed, because the total of 5 spaces is allocated for this output. Here's another example of an integer output. So I have here two variables, integer n1 equals 5, and then integer n2 equals 10. So printf, I have here 2%d, and then comma. So this is my format, comma, and then these are my values. So n1 here will be placed, or the value of n1 will be substituted with this one, and then for this we have n2. That's why it will display 5 and then 10. Float and double output. So how do we display float and double? So to display float, we use %f and we use %lf for double. So to demonstrate that, I have here two variables. One is a float number, so float number 1 equals 13.5, and then double number 2 equals 12.4. So printf number 1 equals %f \n number 1. So again, the value of this will be substituted here in this place here. So for the next one, the number 2 equals %lf, so the value of number 2 will be substituted here. That's why the output for the first one is number 1 equals 13.5000. So you notice we have a lengthy number of decimal places. So for the second one, number 2 equals, so that's 12.4, so 12.40000. So that is how C language will display these values. Now, what if you want to format your output so that it will look better in your screen? So float number, so the same value. We have two variables here, number 1 and number 2, and almost the same program, but this time around, instead of just %f, I use %6.2f, and also I use 6.2lf. So the 6.2 before f and lf is used to format the number. This will allocate 6 spaces and allocate the last 3 characters for the decimal point and the 2 decimal places. So if you notice, for the output of the first line, we have your number 1 equals 13.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have here a single space here. The same is true with this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have a single space here. The space here is, of course, the space I have given here. So this will be the output. So here we have controlled the number of decimal places. How do we display character? So to display character, we use the %C. So in this example, we have character ch. So we declared a variable character equal to a, and then printf character equals %C ch. So ch, the ch will be substituted to this place here, in this place here. So the output will be character equals a, because that's the value of ch. How do we print string? So a string in C language is actually an array of characters. So we have here character school 19. So we have here an array containing 19 characters. There is a typographical error. This should be school, not name. So print school equals %s. So the value of this variable is school variable, that should be school, will be substituted to %s, which is actually University of Luzon. So the output will be school equals University of Luzon. So we can also have several values in one line, just like what we have done a while ago. So we have printf %s, 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 %s. So there are single spaces in between each of the string. So we have John. So John will be substituted to the first %s here, Paul to the second one, George to the third one, and Ringo to the fourth one. So it will just display John, Paul, George, Ringo with single space in between. So here we have the same as the previous one, but we have 3 lines. So to separate each line, I use \n, that means new line. And so the same, this will display John, Paul, George, Ringo. The next one will be Jimmy, Robert, Eric, David, Christopher, Peter, Gino, and Barry. So that will be, the output will be something like this. Now, what if I specify the length? So %12s, so for each of these I use 12s. And the same names. So the output will be something like this. You notice that it is right justified. It is aligned to the right. Or justified to the right. And it has allocated 12 spaces. So there are 12 spaces, or 13 in all, including this space here. But here, I use negative 12s, instead of just 12s. So what this negative symbol, what will this negative symbol do? So it will actually align the string to the left. So it will be left justified. So you notice here, they are now left justified, or aligned to the left. Aligned to the left. Hexadecimal and octal. So we can also display integer values in their hexadecimal and octal format. So let's say, for example, in this program, I declared a variable 12, and in the first line, I print this number in decimal. So we use %n. So the same variable. In the second line of the code, or the third line of the code, I actually displayed the number in octal. So I use %o to display the value in octal. So the same variable, I'm using the same value, which is actually 12. And the third one, hexadecimal, is %x. Again, I'm using the same variables. So all of these variables are actually equal to 12 in decimal. So the first one will display normally in decimal, and the second one will display in octal. So 12 in decimal is equivalent to 1/4 in octal. And 12 in decimal is equivalent to C in hexadecimal. So new line. So for new line, we use \n for new line. So if you have this one, printf University of Luzon, wherein we have \n after the university and another backslash n after of. So the output of this will be university, then new line, so it proceeds to the next line of the new line. We have here Luzon. So that's the purpose of backslash n. Tabs. So for tabs in C language, you use backslash T. So again, here have University of Luzon. So instead of backslash n, I use backslash T. So the output will be university. So we have here several spaces, or actually as if you are pressing the tab button. So tab and then of, then tab, and then we have here Luzon. So backslash T is for tabs. How do we print double quote and single quote? Because double quote is used for string and single quote is used for character. But how do we print this? So to print double quote, we use backslash double quote. To print single quote, we use backslash single quote. So in this example, here is human. So I want this to be enclosed in double quote, so I use backslash double quote. So this is how it is displayed. Then backslash n, that will proceed to the next line, the general's daughter. So I have here single quote after before the letter S here. So how do we display that? We use backslash and then single quote. So the output will be the general's daughter. How do we display the backslash itself? So the path is, so we just use double backslash to display the backslash itself. So the path is C X up HT doc. So the output of this will be the path is C. So we have backslash X up backslash HT docs. Okay, so these are some of examples in how do we print values in C language. So thank you very much for viewing this video.